When Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High opens, it plunges you into the kinds of moments that make or break relationships, both personal and professional. These are not casual chats about the weather, they're the conversations where emotions run hot, opinions differ, and the outcome could shift the future in significant ways. The authors, Carrie Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler, set the tone with a vivid truth. The ability to handle these moments well is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop. They begin with a simple but important insight: a crucial conversation is not defined by its topic alone, but by three key elements happening at once: high stakes, strong emotions, and differing opinions. If all three are in play, you're not just talking, you're in the middle of something potentially explosive. And while our instincts often push us toward avoidance, aggression, or a quick compromise, these default responses can damage trust, morale, and even long-term success. From here, the authors weave in stories of boardroom showdowns, tense marriage discussions, and even high-pressure safety situations to make a point: the most skilled communicators do something radically different. They notice when a conversation is turning crucial, and instead of letting emotions hijack their responses, they take deliberate steps to keep it constructive. This act of noticing is the first and often overlooked step. Awareness is the gateway to control. The first major tool they introduce is about starting with the right intent. They call it "Start with Heart," and it's a reminder to ask yourself, what do I really want from this conversation, for myself, for the other person, and for the relationship? This mindset creates a North Star when emotions threaten to pull you into defensiveness or point scoring. One manager's story in the book illustrates this well. Midway through a heated budget argument, she paused, silently reminded herself that she wanted trust and collaboration more than a temporary win, and reframed her words accordingly. Next, the authors dive into the importance of creating a safe space for dialogue. Safety, they explain, doesn't mean avoiding hard truths, it means people feel respected enough to contribute openly. The two big threats to safety are when people doubt your respect for them or your commitment to a shared goal. Through the story of a factory team where a supervisor's sarcasm was crushing morale, the authors show how acknowledging mistakes and clarifying shared objectives can transform hostility into openness. Once safety is established, the focus turns to mastering your own emotions. A central teaching here is learning to separate facts from your interpretations of those facts. They call it "master my stories," because much of our anger or fear comes from the mental narratives we create about others' motives. In one memorable example, a husband assumes his wife's late arrival means she doesn't care about their anniversary, only to learn she was delayed helping a stranded motorist. Pausing to question the stories you tell yourself can prevent you from escalating needlessly. Building on that, the authors introduced the skill of sharing tough messages without triggering defensiveness, what they call "State My Path." The acronym stands for Share Your Facts, Tell Your Story, Ask for Others' Paths, Talk Tentatively, and Encourage Testing. The balance here is key. You're not softening the truth, but you're delivering it in a way that keeps the other person engaged rather than shutting them down. A corporate example shows a leader explaining missed deadlines without accusations, instead inviting the team to explore solutions together. Listening is the next crucial skill, and not just passively, but with a commitment to genuinely understand. This involves exploring others' paths by asking questions, mirroring emotions to show empathy, and paraphrasing for clarity. The book's example of a CEO who defused a strike by listening deeply to workers' grievances shows how transformative real listening can be, even when the issues are complex and emotionally charged. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, the conversation starts to veer towards silence or violence, two unhelpful patterns the authors define. Silence can mean avoiding the topic, withdrawing, or masking true feelings. Violence can mean controlling, labeling, or attacking. Recognizing these early warning signs in yourself and others allows you to step back, rebuild safety, and re-engage constructively. The authors also tackle the challenge of turning talk into action. Good conversations without follow-through breed cynicism, so they stress agreeing on clear next steps, who will do what by when, and holding one another accountable. They share a story of a hospital leadership team that reversed chronic communication breakdowns simply by ending every meeting with explicit action agreements and follow-up checks. Through these tools, the book constantly threads the idea that handling crucial conversations well is not about winning debates, but about creating dialogue, a shared pool of meaning from which better decisions emerge. The more perspectives in the pool, the smarter and more sustainable the solutions become. The stories continue to drive home that this isn't theory, it's a skill anyone can learn. From a foreman calming a near mutiny to a couple saving their marriage by shifting from blame to curiosity, the examples are often raw, sometimes humorous, and always relatable. What's especially compelling is how the authors address the inner work required. They remind you that the biggest barrier to better conversations is often not the other person's behavior, but your own mindset, habits, and assumptions. They challenge readers to see themselves not as victims of circumstance, but as active shapers of the dialogue's outcome. By the time the book closes, the message is clear: crucial conversations will always be uncomfortable to some degree, but discomfort is not the enemy. Avoidance and emotional reactivity are. With practice, you can replace fear-driven habits with intentional, respectful, and productive dialogue. The reward is more than smoother interactions. It's stronger relationships, better decisions, and greater trust. Ultimately, Crucial Conversations is not just a communication manual, but a guide to personal leadership. It asks you to show up with clarity, empathy, and courage when it matters most. And through its mix of actionable steps and human stories, it proves that these moments, rather than tearing relationships apart, can become the very foundation on which they grow stronger.